Hello, my name is Keith Bussey. Um, I'm here today to talk about why we should become organ donors. In today's society, people have a lot of mixed feelings about being an organ donor, and I decided to do my change in attitude speech today on why becoming an organ donor is so important. Today, I'm going to shed some light on what an organ, exactly what an organ is, who's eligible to be an organ, what organs are needed, and what organs can be donated, and the pros and cons of being an organ donor. So, the role of an organ, according to HowStuffWorks.com, are cells and tissues that perform specific tasks. Sort of like the engine in your car, its task is to run the car. Who's eligible to be an organ donor? Anyone in good health is eligible to be an organ donor. They can't have any long-term diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, HIV, stuff like that. Um, if a person wants to consider to be an organ donor, whether living or deceased, they should consult with their doctor. If you want to be a living donor, you have to perform certain tests and everything is strictly confidential. If you're not a match, the only thing that it will say on the report is donor is not a match. Your test will be strictly confidential between you and your doctor. According to donatinglife.com, nearly 120,000 men, women, and children are currently on a list to receive an organ. And also, when you go get your license, it's also good to let the DMV know because they'll ask you a question, would you like to be an organ donor? And it'll be on your license. Like, I know in Kentucky, it's like a little heart, or some states it's a little heart, or you can sign the back of your driver's license. I myself am on an organ donor list. I am waiting for a kidney and pancreas transplant list. I've been diabetic for 13 years, and my kidneys failed on me November 2012. So now I am currently active on a transplant list in Baltimore, Maryland at Johns Hopkins Hospital. What organs are needed and what organs can be donated are the kidneys, like we all know, your heart, lungs, pancreas, the liver, intestines, skin, bone marrow, and the corneas. Um, a lot of people today are not aware of the certain organs that can be um, transplanted, such as the corneas and the intestines. Um, but like I said before, being an organ donor is a great gift that you could give to another person, whether it be a tragedy from a death or um, being a living donor and giving an organ to maybe a family member or friend, because you never know who's a match. A perfect stranger could be a match before your own family member could be a match for you. Um, the pros and cons about being an organ donor. The pros are, like I said before, you give someone a second chance at life, and the gift of life is the greatest thing that we could ever do for one another as far as a human race. Um, the family, although their loved one may be deceased, out of a tragedy, there comes a good sense of their death, and their death isn't in vain. The family can be at ease knowing that they helped save another person's life, and that I think is just so amazing. Um, the cons about being an organ donor, you cannot get paid. It's federal law that you are not to get paid for any organ donations. Um, Organ donations are strictly voluntarily. You cannot get paid for that. Um, the families, another con is the families can also change their minds when the person is deceased. So it is important, if you want to be a donor, you should consult with your doctor. Make sure that you tell a close family member or friend, your last wishes, and you need to be very sincere and let them know how passionate you are about truly being an organ donor. So if something was to happen, then your wishes will be followed, like you would like your last wishes will be followed. Um, Another con is the family, once a person is deceased, the family cannot choose which organs can be donated. What they're going to do, they're going to take what they need. And just because you're thinking in your head, oh, I'm going to donate my organs, they will always be an option for open casket. They will never do anything to the outside of the body to make it where your casket would have to be closed. It will always be an option of open casket unless otherwise being on the severityness of the tragedy. Um, like I stated before, being an organ donor is the best gift ever, especially for someone like myself who is waiting on two organs. It's it's a very, very important thing that if you can give, to give back, because like I said before, organ donors is the greatest thing for people who are awaiting for organs, and you get that second chance at being normal again. Because, like myself, I have to be on dialysis every night for 9 hours, and it gets a little stressful for people whose organs are failing and they're getting ill and they're waiting on organs. So I would just like everyone to take in consideration about being an organ donor and just keeping that in the back of your mind, because you never know, one day your organs can be a match for your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, or one of your closest friends. So hopefully today I have made a little change in attitude about you deciding to be an organ donor. It's something that you should try to think about. I understand that everyone does have their differences in their beliefs, but like I said before, um, sharing life is the best thing that you can do if possible, and also a part of you will always live on when you donate an organ, because it's in someone else's body and they're living for you and them. So thank you for listening to my change in attitude speech. I hope that you take into consideration to be an organ donor. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart because it would help someone out like myself. Thank you.